Coming in hot from Arizona, this is Trevor
and Troy Howard.
And you're on SoTellUs Time. You can have everything you want in your business. Sometimes you just need a little help.
Every business owner would love to charge more for their services, but sometimes you can sacrifice long-term loyalty for a short-term profit.
Creating the right rituals is key to your business having success.
Are you tired of competing with your competitors? Guess what? You don't have to compete if you create.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of SoTellUs Time, brought to you by SoTellUs from the beaches of Fiji. As you can see, if you are a YouTuber and you are on YouTube watching us right now, you can see that Troy is fully dressed and yet on the beach.
That's how I roll on the beach.
Which, to be honest, we do roll that way. Yeah. If you've ever seen us on the beach, we will be in head to toe covered, like long sleeve shirts, hats, sunblock to 100 SPF or whatever that is. I mean, I personally have had cancer cut out of me 7 times, so we don't mess around.
I don't know what our family did to offend the sun gods, they hate us.
Yeah, exactly. Something, who knows? I don't want to go into it because from all the Greek movies, usually someone slept with someone they weren't supposed to sleep with.
Yeah.
What did you do, Ron? All right, guys. Well, today we are going to be talking about stories sell. And it doesn't matter what your business is, whether you're in the service industry, an online store, no matter what you do. For instance, right here, my jewelry, good company, Night Rider Jewelry. They have great stories that go with every piece of jewelry, and it makes it even cooler. It just makes it like, you like read the story about it and you're just like, that's so sick, you know? And I don't know, it adds to it. So it doesn't matter what you are. I don't care if you're a home inspector, you have a story or stories, and you can use those stories in your business. So we were just at the huge convention this last week, and we were in front of over 1,000 people. I think there was about 1,600 people there. Troy took main stage, had an hour on main stage, and we used 2 stories, or I should say Troy used 2 stories in his presentation that absolutely crushed it for the rest of the event for us. And the thing is it was sharing 2 stories of great success that our customers had in just 1 year. And I'm not gonna, like always, I have not read, Troy's little outline of today's podcast, so I'm not gonna jump into what the stories are. I'm sure Troy jumps into what the stories are. So I will let him take it away from here. It's all you.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about this, and I wanna just kind of point this out is, so I had 60 minutes to present, and a good portion of that was sharing these stories, and then the other half of it probably was just education, like strategy after strategy of you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this.
It was not a sales pitch.
Not a sales pitch at all, yeah.
In fact, Troy wasn't even allowed to pitch from stage. He was not allowed to sell. So this was just education.
Exactly. Straight up strategies of do this, right? And to grow your business. But what was interesting is after I spoke, we had several days where just hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people came by and talked to us. And, no one talked about like, oh, that strategy you taught was really, really cool, or I really love that strategy. Everyone kept talking about the stories.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So you need to, as a business owner, you need to tell your story.
Well, and a story makes you feel something.
Yes.
That's the key, is a story makes you feel something. And it's like they've always said, they won't remember what you said, they won't remember what you did, but they will remember the way you made them feel.
Yeah.
And stories do that. Again, back to my jewelry, back to the t-shirts that I buy, back to, anything that I love bags. I believe there's a bag for everything. There's a bag for every situation. And I love that. The company that I buy bags from, they have a story with every bag, and it sells it. And I'm just caught. I just get caught every time.
Exactly.
So I buy lots of bags from them.
Absolutely. So what is your story, right? What makes you different from your competitors? And this is really important because you may actually sell the exact same service as your competitors, but your story is different, right? where you came from, how you got there, what you do. That is what makes you different from your competitors.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a perfect example of that. So one of the stories that I shared in my presentation at the Huge Convention was about Jason and Christina, and they are from the company Gulf Coast Pressure Washing in Florida, and they are so cool.
Super cool.
And their story is really cool. Jason is a full-time firefighter, and his wife, Christina, is a full-time elementary school teacher.
Awesome.
So talk about, American raised, born and bred, like the people we're proud of, our teachers and our firefighters.
Absolutely.
So that's their full-time jobs. And what they knew is that they loved their jobs. They never wanted to leave those jobs, but they knew that they wanted to make more money in their life. They wanted to be able to do more things with their son, Andrew. So they're like, how are we going to do that?
Which, by the way, let's just highlight Andrew for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Coolest kid. How old is he?
12.
12 years old, and this kid is an entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely.
This kid is going to be like, watch out, Zuckerberg, because this kid's coming for you. He is going to be a big deal someday, because he already at 12 years old, I mean, I think I was playing with G.I. Joes, and this kid is going to events, coming to conferences, working in the business, and he's going to crush it.
Yep, absolutely. So here's the thing about them, right? They didn't want to leave their jobs that they loved.
Right.
So like, how are we going to make more money? And instead of saying like, I'm going to try to pick up more shifts at the station, or, I'm going to do teaching, tutoring, right? After school, they said, you know what, we're going to start a business.
Yeah.
And so we met them 12 months ago. At that point, they've been in business for 1 year, and they came to the Huge Convention to buy a piece of equipment. Mm-hmm. And they heard me give my presentation. They loved the strategies I taught, and they kind of came around the booth like 3 different times, and they finally started talking with us, and it was awesome. And we got to know them really, really well. They got SoTellUs, and then we've kind of followed them throughout the last 12 months.
And if you've ever been to an event, you know what they were going through, because you don't want to, you walk around and you don't want to even look anybody in the eyes, because you know they're going to try to suck you in and sell you what they've got. And that's why she kept coming around, and she'd look, and then she'd leave, and then she'd come back, and then she'd leave, and she was hesitant.
Oh, yeah.
Turned out to be one of the best things she did.
Absolutely. They straight up said that it's the best thing that they've done for their business. And so here's what happened. In 12 months, this year, they're going to make over $250,000.
Amazing.
And that is working part-time in the business.
Part-time.
Now, you might say, you might be thinking in your mind, oh, yeah, well, they probably work all day Saturday, all day Sunday. They never get to spend time with Andrew, right?
Yeah.
And that's not true.
Nope.
Like, they straight up said, they're like, no, we didn't want this. We're doing this for our family, so we're not going to let it get in the way of our family. And I think it was Jason who told me, he's like, yeah, the only time I work on a Saturday is if the job is like so big that like I can take my family to Disney World off of it.
Yeah.
So they're getting the life they want. They're making a ton of extra money.
And you might even be thinking, there's two thoughts that could be happening in your mind is like, well, $250,000, that's not that much money. Well, remember, they're doing this part-time.
Yeah.
This isn't even their full-time gig. And we've got power washers, pressure washers, window washers, guys in the service industry that have been doing it for 4, 5, 6, 7 years that haven't hit the $250,000 range. And they're doing it part-time,
Yeah, they're say the people who haven't hit it are doing it full-time. And they're doing it part-time.
Yeah.
So check this out. Not only are they doing that well, but they just landed a 3-year contract that every 6 months they're going to wash the windows for 5 buildings, commercial buildings. That's 1,100 windows.
So crazy.
1,100 windows.
Crazy.
And I mean, that's like a dream contract. And here's the thing about them. What's so cool is they know their story, right?
Yep.
They know who they are. They're a firefighter, teacher-owned business. They lean into that. It's all over their website.
Yep.
It's on their marketing. It's on their social media. When they go and they take, and they're doing jobs, they lean into it and they say, yeah, this is a little bit about us. This is who we are.
Yeah.
At the end, they want to get those awesome 5-star reviews from them. And Jason just straight up says like, hey, look, again, I'm a firefighter. My wife's a teacher. This business is, we're doing this to change our lives. And if you could give us a review, that would really help our small business.
Absolutely.
So again, leaning into that story every single time they're talking to a customer.
Totally.
And they've exploded the business. And literally, the other thing they're doing is that they're leaning into their reviews. They made their reviews one of the biggest and most important things in their marketing.
Right.
Because again, what is a review?
It's a referral.
It's a referral, and it's also telling your other customers stories, right?
Right.
That's literally when someone writes a review for you, they're sharing their experience or their story
Right.
with your business. So they lean into that, and they're getting video reviews from their customers. They're getting the Google reviews, and then they're utilizing those in their marketing. Christina is hilarious. She, again, elementary school teacher. She learned how to make videos online, and she's making her own videos, and she's doing an amazing job.
They look awesome.
Oh yeah, and she's cutting in videos of her husband working. She's cutting in videos of reviews and videos of their clients talking about them.
Right.
And it's amazing. Again, leaning into the story. They're not talking about PSIs, or if I were them, I was thinking about it today. I'm like, I'm going to tell them the next time I talk to him, I'm like, you should be leaning into, like that Jason is like, you need a company that knows how to handle a hose because he's a firefighter. Like he handles the biggest hoses in the world, right?
That's right.
But again, another idea to lean in
Totally.
to your story. Anyways, anything else, Trevor, you want to talk about Jason and their story?
No, I mean they're awesome. And again, the thing is, I think to my second point was some companies may be going, crap, I've been doing this for years and I haven't even hit $250,000 yet. That's okay.
Yeah.
Like, listen, they saw our presentation, they saw what our system does, they leaned into our system, they leaned into what we taught them. And then they changed their lives and they were able to grow this way. They also listen to the podcast. They also listen to the emails that we send out. They pay attention to this stuff. You're doing the same thing. You're going to have the results. If you're implementing what we're talking about every week in SoTellUs Time, you can have those same results.
Exactly. All right. So the next story. So we just talked about sharing your story.
Yep.
So you need to think about what is your story? What makes you different, right?
Right.
The next thing is telling your customer stories. And we talked about that a little bit with reviews, but you need to share your customers' stories. It's one of the best ways to close more sales.
Right.
We do this all the time. Our sales guys, I would say in their demo, when they do a sales demo for SoTellUs, they probably have 5 to maybe 8 stories, customer stories that they share in that presentation.
Right. Why wouldn't you? It's like think about the old infomercials.
Yes.
Late night, midnight hits, TV shows go away, infomercials kick in. It's always people having success with whatever the product that is being sold. And it is success story after success story after success story after success story, a little bit about the product, success story, success story, success story, a little more about the product. I mean, that
is it. Yeah.
We know how to sell. We just have to do it. And is your marketing, that makes you better start thinking, is your marketing doing that?
Exactly. Are you an infomercial?
Yeah, if you're not.
They've sold, think about it. Those infomercials, as cheesy as they are, have sold billions, if not $1 trillion.
So crazy. So crazy.
Right? And that's the formula they use. Okay, so let's talk about this. So, again, sharing your customer stories is one of the best ways you can close sales. So by sharing a story, you actually create a desire in your prospect to be the person in the story, right? That's the point of the story, is by the time they hear the end of the story, they should be thinking in their mind, I want to be that person.
Right.
Like, I want that result. I want to be that person.
Yep.
And I'll give you an example of that. The other story that we shared in our presentation at the huge convention was Andrew and Savannah. And they own P&P Exterior Wash, and they're in Florida as well. And they are a, pressure washing and also paint company. And their story is amazing as well, just like Jason and Christina. So they started their business during the pandemic.
Yeah. So
they actually both lost their jobs, and they had, they're like, what are we going to do? So they actually moved into a camper, not like a big, nice RV trailer thing, like a camper in the back of their parents' property.
Yeah.
And the camper was so small that their kids actually stayed in the house with the grandparents, and then Andrew and Savannah were in the camper in the back.
Yeah.
And, most people will be like, okay, what are your options here? Well, you can take money from the government, sit around. You could maybe try and go get another job hourly, whatever you can do to make some money.
And I want to say something about both of these families. They are so cool. And when I say families, I mean families, because they both are involving their families
Yes.
in their businesses. And they bring their kids to these events and they take them to do these different things. And it's so fun for us because we've gotten to meet their families and get to know them. And so these guys, so Andrew and Savannah have the cutest little daughter.
Yes.
She is just awesome. And she is a jujitsu star.
Yep.
She kicks your butt. And Savannah actually will kick your butt too.
Yes.
But so fun. And they said that their daughter, what's her daughter's name again? Aubrey, that's right. She goes, oh, Mom, Dad, we got to go say hi to the SoTellUs guys. I want to say hi to Trevor. She had met me the year before and remembered my name. And I was like, that is so awesome. I mean, Aubrey's got to be like...
You know what I asked her? I said,
how old is she?
Oh, I don't know. She's young.
She's tiny, so it's hard to tell. She's tiny.
Super tiny. But she's young. But I asked her, I said, so why do you like Trevor? And she goes, in her very like teeny tiny voice.
Like a mouse voice.
That's like a mouse. She goes, because he's loud like me. And I was like, what? And she's like, he's loud like me. And I'm like, honey, you are not. Now, Trevor, yes, Trevor is loud.
Oh my gosh.
But you are not.
She talks like this. I have to get really close because I'm like, hey, how are you? And she's like, I'm doing really well. Like, she is like, there's no, oh my gosh, but so fun. And she's actually going into a championship coming up. Like,
nice.
So kudos to her and best of luck to her as well. But again, getting to meet them, they've done an amazing job. Are you involving your families within your business? If you are having to spend a lot of time, energy, and efforts, and this is not on topic, but are you able to bring your family into the business and allow them to be a part of your life during that time? I think it's a phenomenal way.
Well, and it is on topic because your family is part of your story.
That's true.
Right?
Very
so
true.
that can be a part of your story.
Absolutely.
So let me tell you a little bit more about their business now that you know their family. Which, by the way, we did that on purpose, and I'll explain that in a second. But so they lost their jobs in the pandemic. They decided, look, we got nothing to lose. We're living in a camper, right?
Yep.
So let's start a pressure washing business. And they started their business, and they came to the huge convention last year, 12 months ago. They met us there. It was awesome. Got to know their family really well, and they started using SoTellUs. So they went from making about $15,000 a month to making over $75,000 a month. They're going to break $1 million in sales this year. And again, this is just their second year in business.
Wow.
And I want you to think about it for a second. Who of you in your mind right now are going, man, I wish I was like Andrew and Savannah, or I wish I was like Jason and Christina.
Yeah.
That's the point of the story, right? We got you by sharing about their family. We got you invested in their family and invested in their story.
Right.
And then we showed you the success they had. And now in your mind, you're going, man, I wish that was me.
Yep.
I wish that was me. And that's the entire point of the story.
And the cool thing is I want to put in there, it's like Andrew and Savannah said. They were like, we never even thought about like the numbers and getting up to like $1 million. And then when we were starting to get close, we were like, oh my gosh, we might hit $1 million. And then like, oh my gosh, we're going to hit $1 million. And then, you know what they said to me? They go, and now that we're hitting that, we're like, well, it can't be that much harder to hit $2 million. Right. That's our new goal. We want to hit 2 million. It's almost like once you break, that wasn't even in their minds until it started to happen. Then there was a ceiling of this $1 million, but now they realize, well, holy crap, if I can do one, I can do two, and they can break through that ceiling.
Exactly.
Which is super cool.
And what was cool about the event was, again, I spoke at the very beginning, the first day of the event, and for the rest of the week, we had people coming up to us at the booth, and they're like, oh man, I want to be the next Andrew and Savannah.
Yep.
Let me sign up for your services. Oh man, I want to be the next Jason and Christina.
Yeah.
Let me sign up for your services.
And they were telling, what's funny is people were coming up and telling us their stories.
Yes.
This guy comes up and he's like, listen, he goes, similar story to your people as well. We lost our jobs and we had nothing to do and we had no money. And he said, I actually at one point in my life had owned a carpet cleaning company, and my wife, I talked to her about maybe doing that, starting another carpet cleaning company, but she's like, please don't. It's so expensive. Like I doubt we can even get the loans to start your carpet cleaning company with getting the van and the truck mount and all the stuff. And so he was out looking around and he's like, what can I do? What can I do to provide? Because he's like, bills were coming. It was time to buy food. Like, we needed something. And he goes, I came across window washing. And he said, babe, can I have, I think he said it was like $30 something. Can I have $30? And she said, that is like half of what we have left right now.
Right.
And he said, I'm going to go and make flyers and pass them around some neighborhoods. I'm going to knock on doors and I'm going to pass them around neighborhoods and talk to people, not just put them on the door, but actually talk to people, knock on the door and talk to them and see if I can land some window washing deals. And she's like, you've never washed windows? And he's like, yeah, but I can do it. And he goes, and here's the best part, babe, you'll love this. All I have to do is go to Home Depot and buy a bucket and a squeegee and like a little whatever fluffy moppy thing, whatever that is that they wipe on there. And so, and she was like, well, that is low cost. And okay. So they did it. And he's like, and that week I landed 2 jobs for the following week. He goes, in fact, I didn't have the money to go buy the bucket and the squeegee and the little moppy thing. He's like, so I went and he goes, I actually wrote a check. And he goes, I wrote a check and they accepted the check because this is years and years ago. And he said he went and did the 2 jobs on Monday and he immediately ran to the bank and he put the money in his account to make sure that the check didn't bounce with Home Depot.
Right.
And so anyways, it was so cool. And I'm like, dude, there's your story, man. Like your origin story. It's such a good story. It captures you.
Exactly. All right. So that was the key, right? Everyone wanted to be Andrew and Savannah. Everyone wanted to be Jason and Christina, and they came up. So now, what do you do? How do you get those customer stories? Well, obviously, one of the best ways to do that is to get reviews from your customers.
100%.
Right? Get those reviews and then share those reviews. Even better than that is to get video reviews.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you can get videos of your customers sharing their experience with your business, it will change your marketing.
100%.
That's what both of these companies, both of these families did, and that's how they landed huge contracts that they literally, they called it a white whale. They're like, we will never. They said, I remember driving past this one place and I was like, we would never get a contract like that.
Oh.
And then they stole it away from their competitors.
Yeah, and they showed me an aerial view of because it was Savannah, I believe, right?
Yes, it was Andrew and Savannah.
Yeah, and they showed me an aerial view of the complex with these buildings, and it was huge. I was like, is that a resort? And she's like, pretty much. It's pretty much a huge resort.
Yeah.
Like, it was awesome, and that was their white whale, and they landed it.
Okay, so the final question is, where do you tell these stories?
Right.
And we're just going to give you a quick list for you to think about. But first and foremost, these stories should be on your website.
Yep.
They should be in your social media. They should be in your ads that you're sending out. They should be in your sales presentation that you're giving people. Mm-hmm. They should be in your emails. Every time you're communicating with anybody, your story should be in the email. Put it as a PS down at the bottom. PS, right. Check out what Andrew and Savannah said about us. PS, check out what we did with Dr. Guess here. You know, like have those in every single email. So those are just ways that you can get your story out there. And again, leaning into you. I can't tell you. And we've made this mistake in our life where, you know, we thought like, oh man, we're a small business, but we want to look big.
Yeah.
And in order to look big, we have to take us out of the picture and look very corporate.
Yeah.
But that's not what people want.
No.
Nobody wants to do business with a corporation.
No, in fact, the funny thing is we are reverse now.
Yeah.
We are big worldwide, 30 countries. We are big, and yet we preach about our homegrown family business, our small business mentality, and how this is a family business, and even our employees, they are family. They become family. We built a core team, and we want to make sure our clients still feel that.
Yes.
And not this big corporate thing. Which is why one of the things we did was success coaches.
Exactly.
And a success coach is set up to be assigned to a specific business or a set of businesses. Mm-hmm. And those are their businesses. And that's who, when you call in or you email in, you talk to that person and they know who you are.
Well, I'll give you a perfect example of that. When I was interviewing Andrew and Savannah, finding out their success story, I asked them a little bit about their experience with our company. And Savannah literally said, what she said was, she goes, I feel like we're your only client. Like you literally exist just to help us.
Amazing.
And she goes, and she said, I took that feeling that I got from your company, and I've been working on implementing that in my company so that
That's
all
so
of my
awesome.
customers feel the exact same thing. So again, that's the story, right? All right. Anything you want to add in, Trevor, before we hit the homework?
Let's jump into homework. So you've got your story, people. You need to write your story down. You need to put that out on paper. Don't just create it in your mind, put it out on paper, and then look for the places, like Troy gave you the examples of the appropriate places for you to put them. And then you have your additional stories, which are your customer experiences. That's your happy customers that have experience with your business and have shared that story. If you don't have those stories, you need to go get those stories. Take those stories and put them in your marketing. It should be in every single marketing piece that you have out there. The best brands in the world use what is called social proof. Social proof is just reviews.
Yep.
It's just people's stories with your product or your service. And so you need to go get that. So take both of those stories, see how you can incorporate your personal story into your messaging. Okay. And that's like at the events, Troy, Ron, and I are the ones that we are the owners and we show up to the events.
Yes.
Right? We very rarely send our employees because we like to be there. We like to be there and meet people, find out, like we learn so much, to be honest, from all these different interactions with people. And we get to learn other people's stories. And so there we also get to share our story. And we get to bring people into what we call the SoTellUs family.
Yep.
And when you sign up with my service at an event, I literally shake your hand and say, welcome to the family.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. We create these long-lasting relationships. And we've got clients all over the world. We have created relationships, long-lasting relationships with people all over the world. And so that's our story. And then we're going to take our customers' stories and we're going to put that into our marketing and we're going to utilize that. So that's what you guys need to be doing as well. And I promise you, time after time after time, it will work. And it will build a marketing machine that will continue to work and last the ages and help you become winners even through things like pandemics.
Yes, because guess what? Your competitors won't be doing it.
Right.
Which means you will crush them every single time.
And I would say Troy hit the nail on the head. I don't care how big you get. Everyone's mindset is wrong. They want to look big and corporate. That is wrong. And we learned that years ago when we had that big corporate feeling, and it was a cold and hard feeling, and I didn't like it. Our customers didn't like it. Our employees didn't like it. And we said, what are we doing? We are getting away from our roots and who we truly are, and we don't need to pretend. And it wasn't even pretending. We were big, but but we don't need to be something we're not. We don't need to pretend that we are something that we're not when it came to that. We're not corporate people.
Yeah.
We are homegrown, family owned, baby. And we're proud of it. So anyways, all right, guys, we love you. We appreciate you. Just like always, every week we enjoy coming and doing this. This is like so fun. I love recording these. And I love that the fact that I get emails, we get phone calls, we see people at events, we see people out and about. I just got a text message today from a friend of mine that I went to school with years ago that was like, dude, the cleaning company for my rental properties or VRBO properties or whatever they were actually uses your system to get reviews. Like, that's so cool. And then the company was like, oh my gosh, we love them. And they were talking about us and stuff. We love what we do, and we love the fact that people come up to us and talk about the SoTellUs Time as well.
Yes.
So just know we love you. We appreciate you. We obviously are doing this for you. It's not for us. This is for you. And I hope you feel that, know that. All right, guys. Well, we will catch you guys on the next episode of SoTellUs Time.